Okay, we're live, guys. I want to say hello to everybody out there in Brownsverse. We have Thursday night football. I am coming to you personally live from Atlanta, Georgia. And we have my dad with us, as
Hold
always,
on.
who's back at home. You said, hold on?
How do I get the volume down?
You mouse over it, and then there's a little volume button that you mute. There should be a little slider there that has the volume button. If you
I know.
can't, okay, just click off of it. We're live, so.
Okay. Hold on. I
All
can't
right,
even click off of it.
all right, guys. So we've got. I want to just ask, how excited is everybody right now about this Browns team? We cut Calloway. We're happy with that. We are 3-6. The season is still intact, and we've got an opportunity now to beat the Steelers at home for the first time since Brian Hoyer the Destroyer was our quarterback. Are you still struggling over there, Dad?
Yeah.
Okay, just click the X on that browser.
I'm trying to. It's just not. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Sorry about that, guys. Technical glitches. I am not as tech savvy as my son Michael, and I
It's
got
all good.
everything set up, but we're all good. Go ahead, Mike.
All right, so all right. So we got. Let's just give a shout out to the people that we've got in chat right now. The Friendly Gamer, X-Men 20 or X-Men Avenger 23, Crazy King 68, General Patton, Mario G, Oz Travels, Browns fan 1977, Mario P, um, Nate, Dan X, One Up, Eric Carr, and that seems to be it. Everybody in the chat right now. I just want to ask chat, did everybody get an opportunity to watch the the new hype video, the new 300 trailer hype video? And I'd love to hear what people think about that. Yeah, I agree, General Patton. It's going to be a good chance if we beat the Pittsburgh Steelers tonight and we go 3-6. We are very much back in the hunt. Obviously, looking from the outside in, but very much, very much still in the hunt.
Yeah, John says, "Don't embarrass your dad on the game show."
Yeah. So, Dad, what are your thoughts on today? What do you think? What do you think we have? What do you think we should be looking for? Any predictions for today? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, a couple of things. I mean, the same old, same old. I mean, the running game has got to work. We got to get Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I think they're in for a nasty duo tonight. Pittsburgh. They haven't seen this before. Nobody's seen it except the guys that Buffalo Bills saw it last week, and they got a taste of it early.
Mm-hmm.
And now we got only a couple of days to prepare for Pittsburgh, but Kareem Hunt is the real deal.
Sure.
Uh, Baker, he's got to play a solid game. We got to have a solid game out of Baker in terms of decision making, throwing, etc., clock management, the whole 9 yards. Receivers got to catch the ball. They got to make moves. We lost Calloway. Uh, Maybe not a big deal. We got Higgins back. Good. Callaway's a problem. Evidently was a drug issue. So it wasn't just coming late to the game. I think they made that up last week.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's obviously going to go to somebody else, and maybe NFL will give him a second or third chance, whatever.
Sure.
But so those are the defense. Pittsburgh's got a good defense, so our offense has got to play well across the board, and no penalties. Uh, uh, you know, just don't shoot ourselves in the foot. And defense, our defense got to play good. Miles has got to have a good game. That I think our secondary is going to handle Randolph. I don't think he'll light it up the way Rosenberg used to do to us. So I think we're on a pretty even keel there. Our defense against their offense. I think that it's really going to come down to our offense against their defense. And if we can score and we can hopefully get ahead early as opposed to coming back, it'll be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I expect a big game out of our defense. I think with Mason Rudolph as the quarterback, we are put in an opportunity where I think that Greedy Williams and Denzel Ward could have a big night. I expect at least one sack from Myles Garrett. I would like to see Myles Garrett's production numbers continue to increase. I'd like to see him get involved and become a factor in the game beyond just one sack. I'd like to see him really maybe force a turnover, do something that impacts the game positively.
Right.
I'd like to see him. I'd like to see Myles Garrett take over a game. I'd really
Yeah.
like to see him. I'd like to see him require multiple blocks. I'd like to see him open up so guys like Mac Wilson can get in there and disrupt things. Those are the ways that we're gonna get it. We're not gonna beat the Steelers today by playing passive defense. We have to
No, we got
play
to play aggressive.
very aggressive.
Right. Pressure, 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 pressure. That is the word I would put up in the locker room. Remind everybody, we got to bring pressure. And if we do, that makes them adjust. And I don't know if they can handle that. But if we don't put pressure on them and you give them all the time in the world, like we did that rookie quarterback in Denver, we just gave him too much time. I mean, you can't let a rookie do that, and you can't let Randolph do that either. He will beat you. He is an NFL quarterback.
Hmm.
He's got some quality. He's got some receivers. Um, if our defensive line can't put some pressure on him, it's going to be a long night.
Yeah, I agree. Uh, I don't know if if James Conner is going today. Let me
Mm,
check. I have him unfortunately on a fantasy team,
he's been
and
banged up. He's been banged up.
it
They
looks
had a
like.
They
Go
had
ahead.
a laundry list of players that were out. If you looked at the NFL, ticker that goes on the NFL Network,
Hmm.
or even on ESPN, when they got to the Browns game and they said, "Okay, who's playing, who's not playing?"
Right.
They had 5, 6, 7 guys. I don't know them that well, so I don't know if they were how really key they are. Um, but I think we have 2 guys out, possibly, and they got like 7 guys out. So, in that respect, I think we're in good shape. We're healthy. We're ready to go.
Hmm.
It's home. It's cold. I think it's like 32 degrees there. I don't know what the wind factor is. I guess we'll see that. But it's not a blizzard. It's not pouring rain. It's not miserable conditions. So we have no excuse there. It's really on Baker. He's due. He's capable. There's no question about it. He should be psyched for this game, and it'll be a huge win in our column if we beat these guys tonight.
Well, looking at so it looks like James Conner is active tonight. He has not played in several weeks. I can tell you that because he had a bye week in week 7. Then he played against Miami. Did well against Miami, rushing 20. His production has increased over the last couple weeks, and
Hmm.
then he didn't play week 9 or week 10. So he's back today, which week 10 was just a couple days ago. So if he wasn't good enough, he wasn't good enough. It wasn't like hey, he's going to suit up and see what he can do. He was listed as out 4 days ago, and so he's back with this shoulder. So I think he's going to be, a little, if just tender, I would
Right.
say.
I
Other
agree.
guys that Steelers have out: wide receiver Ryan Switzer, running back Benny Snell, their fullback Roosevelt Nix. A linebacker is questionable. Joe Hayden's questionable with an illness. Did not practice. He may play.
Yeah, that could be the one key that I saw in the listing was Hayden, and it was a recent illness. But typically, when they list that stuff, it's just like a warning,
Yeah,
and I fully expect him to be on the field.
yeah. I think probably the biggest impact we're gonna have as people that aren't there is Olivier Vernon not playing.
Yeah, right.
Looking at Olivier Vernon being out, Ricky Seals is questionable. He may play.
Right.
Um, it looks like
Who takes it?
Kendall Lamb, the tackle, is questionable as well. He might play, which
Who
could be
takes
interesting.
Vernon's place?
From a depth chart perspective, that's a good point. That's a good question. Let me take a look.
They signed another guy today, I think, or yesterday.
Hmm.
So no,
So ESPN is showing Chris Smith as the right defensive end behind Vernon, but
okay.
it could
Well,
also be Chad Thomas. Although Chad Thomas got knocked around last game a little bit, he got banged up. So we'll see how that goes. But the big news today has been Calloway getting released.
right. Right.
Um,
That came as a shock. I mean, if hopefully they were worried about him earlier, and if they
sure.
were, they should have tried to trade him, and get something for him, even if it's a 7th-round pick or a 5th-round pick. uh, why was he not put on the block if he had that kind of history and we knew he was sort of on the verge? He blamed it on some kind of CBD tainted oil or something, but
Yeah.
he's got problems, and it's a shame. I mean, you want guys like that to succeed. They took a shot at him in terms of the draft when other people passed on him.
Right.
He played for a while. He had some great catches, but he never got to that level of consistency. Never got to that level of playing without this hanging over his head. Sort of like Josh Gordon, I mean, but Gordon put up a couple of years really, really great, and then he went sideways again. And now he's back again. He's playing with Seattle.
Right.
So
Right.
they keep bringing these guys back, even though they keep suspending them, and they lose a lot of money as a result of these stupid things that they do. And they hurt their team. And I think Freddie Kitchens doesn't need that kind of distraction. He's got enough on his plate. And Dorsey said, "Hey, you don't need him, or we can get rid of him. Let's end the distraction, and let's move on. Maybe he'll grow up and he'll be able to handle himself somewhere else." And we wish him the best and hope it frees up a spot for us to use rather than having somebody sit on the bench and do nothing or be suspended. So
Right.
but
Right.
yeah, that was a surprise. I didn't think that was going to happen. But then again, it wasn't just coming late to the game. It was much more than that. Issues. So
Yeah. I mean, looking back at the Steelers' last couple games, they just recently beat the Rams. The Rams are terrible. The Rams are looking to be one of those games that like we should have won. I mean,
yeah,
they're not a very good team.
that's
So
looking to be a really disappointing team that had potential
yeah.
as much as us, if not more, because they were in the Super Bowl, and Goff is not having a very good game or year. So you're right. If we could have won that one, that would have been a nice feather in our cap.
Yeah, I agree. Fishing with Phil. Just so you know, Fishing with Phil, I check that email like once a week. So I'm happy to hook you up. I didn't realize that you had picked the other team. And we did have a rule that we talked about afterwards, so it was retroactive that we weren't going to give away a gift for or a prize for somebody picking against the Browns.
Right.
So unfortunately, and then what happened was somebody who had picked against the Browns in the Bills game, ended up saying, "Screw it, I'll change it to picking it for the Browns," and then he won because he picked the closest score. So I'm not giving anything away for that. So you'll have plenty of time, plenty of chances to win other stuff fishing. Thanks for watching, though. But you got to pick the Browns. If you don't pick the Browns, you don't win.
Right. Nobody. And let's do it, Mike. Let's get our predictions.
Yeah, let's go ahead, guys. We'll do put scores in now. Browns win only. Go ahead and put your scores in now, guys.
I'm saying, again, I'm optimistic. I hope Baker has a good game. I hope our defense gets a couple of turnovers, gets a tip ball, gets a fumble, gets an interception. These guys are, I mean, such a difference from last year. We were just getting turnovers last year. They were just coming our way. And this year, it's going the opposite direction. We're giving them away. We're giving the turnovers. And I hope we get some turnovers tonight, especially for the hometown crowd, to give them something to be excited about and for us to pour it on. So I'm looking at 31-17. That's what I'm looking at.
Right now, it's 36 degrees in Cleveland, Ohio. And looking at, it's going to drop down, wind 10 miles per hour.
Okay.
It's going to drop down to 33 degrees by 10 o'clock, which will still be going on, and then 30 degrees by midnight, 1 a.m. It's going to be a cold game. I know a lot of people that are going to this game. They're going to have to bundle up.
Right.
It will be cold and a little bit windy. Not the greatest of conditions, but it's Cleveland. I mean, you play in the cold in Cleveland.
Yeah, those games are great. Watching Bernie in the snow, and Clay Matthews in the snow, making plays. The running backs, struggling to stay upright. Ozzie Newsome making great catches. Slaughter. I mean, it just brings back a lot of memories when the weather is not, not rain, but snow, cold snow, frozen field. Got to watch your footing, that type of thing, and just great memories of those games. So Baker hasn't had any of those yet, but December's coming. So.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because Eric Metcalf actually tweeted out homage, who is, as you can see right below. Guys, if you want to please check out the new Eric Metcalf shirt that Homage released. And I think that's pretty awesome. So I tweeted out that we're going to be giving that away today on the live stream. So we're
also, Mike, you pointed out, and it's mainly due to your driving your videos. We're up to 2,999 subscribers. We need a couple of more subscribers to go officially over that 3,000 mark and have it, register down below there. So thanks to all the fans who are tuning in, who like what we're doing.
Yes.
We're passionate about it. Sometimes we go on a little bit about various things, but hopefully we're bringing it from the fans' perspective, not the coaches, not too far down in the weeds, just the stuff that you want to scream at the TV about. Why are they doing that play? What are they doing here? Why is that the case? Screaming at the refs. I mean, if we were in the stands at the game ourselves.
Copy.
That's the perspective that we want to bring and we want to talk about. And I know the fans are just as passionate that are tuning in as us. And hopefully they're getting as much out of it as we are, because we're certainly having a hoot with this.
Well, I am now creating the document that has everybody's scores. So Browns 14, 19.
Yeah, we gotta pound the ball. We gotta run the ball. If Chubb and Kareem Hunt can get past their front four and get into the secondary, we can see some big plays, and that is going to open up the passing game, because when you fake it to either one of those two guys, the linebackers have got to freeze. The defensive line has got to freeze just to try to put an edge on them. And
right.
That frees up Baker to give them that 1/2 a second or 3/4 of a second more. He can double clutch. He can just stand there and read and go from one read to the second to the third. And hopefully, he dumps it to the third read if he needs to, and gets 5 or 6 yards, and doesn't get sacked. And obviously, we want everybody safe. We don't want anybody hurt tonight either. So
Yeah.
those are key. But the running, we got to pound the ball. If they stuff us, it could be a long night, because that's not going to help the passing game at all.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was really happy and impressed with what Kareem Hunt did in his
Yeah,
first game. And
absolutely.
looking at how I think we got to get Kareem Hunt more involved in passing the ball to him. I
Right.
think we got to, I was watching the Building the Browns, and it was really interesting. Did you get a chance to watch the Building of Browns from this
I did.
last?
I did not.
So it was really good. They talk about how they have these guys on the team that are quality control guys that they just look at each play and then they score. Like they look at what the defense is called and every play, and they watch every player, and then they score each individual player based on how they performed on that play based on what they called. Did they do the job?
Right.
Did they not do? And man, it was really interesting to see that. But and then they're the ones who provide the scouting reports. They're the ones who provide they provide it to the coaching staff, and it helps them create their game plan. The thing that was frustrating to me about that is we have, if you always notice throughout the theme that has happened this year is we come out guns blaring, right? We'll drive right down the field like in the Titans game, and we'll just murder a touchdown, just like we did in the Bills game. Just right down the field, touchdown. And then it seems like everything falls apart. It seems like the game plan's gone. Any of the plays that had worked, we don't do again.
Right. And if we don't score in the red zone, the first or second opportunity, we get in the red zone and we don't score, the commentators are going to go nuts, and they're going to start throwing out the statistics about how the Browns suck in the red zone, and how they can't score, and how they've given up too many points, and they're leaving too much on the table, etc. So again, to put some of those critics behind us, and to obviously to enhance our chances of winning, we got to score 7 points in the red zone.
We absolutely do.
We can't keep kicking field goals.
Well, defense. The Steelers have a good defense.
Right.
So the Steelers have a good, solid defense. I think their offense, with James Conner playing, they're a little bit more dangerous, and I think they're playing him this week because they probably gave him one more week to rest, and because I think they thought they needed him today. So we'll see how he can do. But I think we can get to Rudolph. I don't think Rudolph is a Pro Bowl quarterback. I think he's just an average NFL quarterback.
Sure.
He's like an Andy Dalton.
He's learning. He's almost a rookie. I mean, he sat behind Roethlisberger for quite a while. So I mean, it's but he's got the capability. It's just a question of, do we let them do the things that they do well, or do we take it away from them? They're going to try to take away our running game, obviously.
Yep.
And then our passing game has got to step up, or vice versa. But that's what Belichick does. That's his theme. Take away what they do well, and you have a better chance of winning, and then enhance what you do well and take advantage of what they don't do well. If they got a weak defense, they got a weak secondary, they got a weak running game, or a run defense, that type of thing. And he does it like no other coach over the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah. Well, if we could get Nick, I think really looking back on this season so far, and even last season, I think at this point Nick Chubb is the best running back we have had easily since we've been back.
Oh yeah, no question.
I mean, William Green had a good year or two. Peyton Hillis had a good year. Jamal Lewis had a good year. So we had good seasons from time to time, right?
Right.
But he is the first guy. I think Nick Chubb is a potential Hall of Fame running back. I think he's that good. If he stays healthy and he can keep doing it, what he does, he was put on this planet to be a running back in the NFL. And I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think Kareem Hunt is that same. Kareem Hunt has the talent and the skill set to be the same thing.
Absolutely. You have two of those guys in your backfield, like Biner and like Mack. I mean, they just played off each other back and forth, and were able to give each other spells. We didn't go down three notches by taking a Chubb out and and having to put Hilliard in or putting in another running back. We're 100% with Chubb, and then when he leaves the game, or if they put in uh, a Hunt at the same time, we got 200% legitimate all-star, all-pro running backs, and Hunt is doesn't have a half a season bang up,
Mhm.
in his background. He's ready to go. So I expect a big game out of him. And like you said, if we can get him the passing game, um, some of those screen passes out in the flat, uh, the moves he was able to put on some of those guys in the last game just show the quality of that running back, and just a huge pickup by us in the offseason.
Yeah. I think if we can get the running game going, and that will open up the passing if there's no excuses anymore. I don't want to see Baker Mayfield throwing the ball close to 40 times. If he
Mm,
can throw the ball 30 times or less. Look at Lamar Jackson. He threw 17 times last game.
mm,
17 times, two if not three touchdowns out of the 15 completions he had. You don't have to throw a billion times, you just have to be efficient. So we need to
yeah,
create efficiency. The way you do that is with little dump passes, and you utilize the athletes that you have, and we have some killer athletes.
yeah,
Another thing, in going back to looking at the Bills game, a lot of the successful plays that we had were designed out passes to the corner, running Jarvis across, like having him drag across the middle after a play
right,
action and then dumping it
yeah,
off to him.
right, yeah.
I mean,
Which we don't defense very well at all. I mean, if
right.
we have an Achilles heel, it's that crossing pattern. I've heard you say it over and over and over again. Why can't we do a little bit better? Just a little bit better. We don't have to have the guy open by 15 yards. I mean, it just it I bet you if we went back and we looked at every game that we played so far, that has been something that has been exploited by just about every team on us, and we
Right.
still haven't been able. Now, as Kersey was playing, we had a better chance. So obviously, some of our linebackers with an injury or two is hurt us, but still, it just it's just one of those Achilles heels types of things that if you don't stop it, they're going to keep doing it to you over and over and over again. So
Yeah.
let's hope we don't have too many of those tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we have a full staff of at least three guys that are full time looking at what our team is doing and what our competition's doing, other teams have to see that as well, and it's glaring.
Right.
If we as fans can see the way that you
Right.
beat the Cleveland Browns is by dumping off passes, little 3 to 5 yard passes, and letting us, miss tackles.
Right.
It's
Or
pretty
even with
simple.
Miles Garrett, he goes 100% from snap one to until he can't. He's gassed, and
Yeah.
he's hurting for a breath or whatever. And if they exploit that, meaning they let him come in and they just dump it over his head, or they run right at him and double team and block him to the inside, he doesn't protect the edge.
Right.
Another Achilles heel with us is from time to time we let people get around the edge on us when we shouldn't in obvious plays. And I don't think Randolph is too much of a scrambler, so I don't see him running. I don't see him going out of the pocket. So I think we can contain him. It's just a question of how much time do we give him. And if we give him too much time, he's going to pick us apart. And if we can put some pressure on, put our hands up, knock a couple of passes down, sack him once or twice so he knows we're coming,
Yeah.
and keep the pressure up, that's what I want to see tonight. I really want to see that happen.
I think that is the key to this game. You can't let a young quarterback get comfortable. We saw
Right.
that in the Broncos game.
Oh, God.
We made him look like Tom Brady, right?
Right.
And I think that's the thing that we have to do. We got to get to the quarterback, But what I think Pittsburgh's going to want to do is this: they're going to have a very similar game plan. They're going to want to get things going on the ground. They're going to want to use James Conner and Samuels and get them moving, because that will open up the pass game for them as well. So these are the pieces that we have to execute very well. When we get down into the red zone, we have to be able to execute. And that has been the thing. It is, we're lightning in a bottle up to the 20-yard line. Once we get in there, we turn into this stiff, forcing the ball, making dumb mistakes, missing tackles, penalties. We just turn into a different team other than the Baltimore game. The Baltimore game was really the one that we showed the world that we can have a quality win and we can beat a quality opponent. Now, the Steelers are not the Ravens. They're not as good as they are. I think we're going to be up like crazy for this game. I think our expensive wide receivers are going to see all the lights and cameras, and they're going to be going nuts. I think our workhorses are going to be ready to go, and hopefully the defense plays tough as well. I predict a very good game today from Denzel Ward. Denzel plays good against the Steelers, number one, and number two, he's not playing against Roethlisberger. He's not playing against Antonio Brown. Denzel's going to have to cover Juju with a mediocre quarterback. So that's the game. We got to create it. We got to create opportunities for our offense to score, and it starts with the defense. We got to get some turnovers.
Right. Yeah. Right. We're low on the totem pole as far as turnovers, especially compared to last year. That's why we won as many games, even though Baker was a rookie and our team, wasn't all that good. Coming off that 0-16 season. But if you get turnovers and you take the ball away from them, especially if you get a gift on the 30-yard line or something like that, where you get one, like look at the San Francisco game. They were winning, I think 10-0 or 14-0, and Garofalo goes back to pass. They put pressure on him. They knock the ball out of his hands, and Clowney? Was it Clowney? Clowney walks in with a touchdown. He just picked it up and walked in.
It's amazing what happens when you put pressure on the quarterback. Look at what happens to Baker Mayfield when we put pressure on him. He becomes less accurate. Look at what we did to Tom Brady when we put a little bit of pressure on Brady. He becomes less accurate. You have to do it. This has been the most frustrating thing about this season's defense, going from Greg Williams, high pressure, aggressive Greg Williams with linebackers and defensive line, not aggressive defensive backs. That's fine because you're being hyper aggressive with your defensive front. So your defensive backs have to pull back a little bit. This Steve Wilks defense is like petting a puppy sometimes, and I just don't understand. Does Steve Wilks not realize that we have some of the best athletes who have ever been measured in the combine? We have to be able to utilize these guys and let them go hog wild. This zone defense, you're taking guys like Greedy Williams and Denzel Ward, who are man coverage cornerbacks, and you're dropping them into a think about your job. Everybody in chat, think about your job. What if your boss came to you and said, I like how you're doing it. You're good. It looks like you're talented, but we're going to have you do something that's completely uncomfortable for you just because it's my way. We're not playing towards your strength. We're playing towards what I want to do as a team, which doesn't always work.
Yeah, why they play as much zone as they do, I'm curious about that. And the reporters in the post game conferences, the news conferences, they ask snowball type questions. They don't really put some of the questions that we as fans would like to know.
Like,
why are you playing as much zone
how
as
did,
you are?
How did it feel to win?
Yeah, right.
Good.
Yeah. So I mean, they don't get maybe into the weeds the way we would like to on certain things.
Yeah.
Just for our own edification why do you play as much zone? Why did you in that last game with Baker on the 5-yard line? have him not run the ball.
Why do we not have play action and a rollout to a tight end or one of our very expensive wide receivers? The best play we had, the best two plays we had was one, that the miracle catch where Jarvis was angling towards and he turned around and the ball happened to be right in his breadbasket. Mm-hmm. That catch. But if you go back, I challenge everybody who's in chat right now, go back and watch that play. Kareem Hunt curls out to the right and is wide open. Kareem Hunt, if Baker just dumps it to you, and I'm sure they're going to see that. Too. They're going to see that on film. Right. Wide. He was open by 10 yards.
And if Landry doesn't make the catch, we look like idiots.
Yes.
You know? He makes a great catch to save the day. When Baker, if he only, like you said, glanced a little bit to his right, there wasn't anybody within 20 yards of him. No. He could have walked into it.
Exactly. I think that is what we're going to learn from the tape and go, look, guys, we have one of the most dangerous weapons in the NFL that it's like somebody hands you keys to a Ferrari and all you've ever driven was a Chevy Impala. And you're like, I don't even know how to turn this car on, right? So that's what we have to learn how to do with Kareem Hunt. We have to be able to get him involved in the offense, and it should be like boom, boom, boom. It should be running the ball with Chubb, dumping it off to Kareem Hunt, running the ball with Chubb, play action to Chubb, dumping it off to Jarvis, running the ball with Kareem, play action, throwing the ball deep to Odell. I mean, it's like I can create the offense for this Browns team, right? You could just take a vanilla offense that's on Madden, and you can win if you just do the right things with it. So.
Okay, I gotta go, Mike.
Okay.
And get ready. Thanks, guys. We had 40 guys in the chat room chatting it up.
Everybody crazy. Subscribe. If you're not subscribed to the channel right now, subscribe. I think we got to like 3,001. It's showing me on the channel analytics that we're at 3,001 current subscribers. I don't know what it's saying on the actual channel itself, but we're either way, we're really close.
2.99 is showing it. It's got to get to that magic number.
Yeah, all right. Everybody subscribe or create another email account and subscribe that way too. I don't care. You know, subscribe to Brownie Postgame is the new meme.
All right, guys. See you after the game, and we'll be giving away stuff if we win.
Oh, we're gonna be going nuts if we win, guys. We're going nuts with the giveaways. If we're definitely at least giving away the homage T-shirt. If we win, we'll give away 2 homage T-shirts. If we win, 1 without it, but 2 with it.
Right.
And it'll be a very fun. So everybody, hit that bell. And join us later. Dad, John was asking, Jonathan Schlegel Esquire was asking if we win by 20 points, will both you and I shave facial hair all the way down to regular skin?
All right. What's John putting in on it?
John says that he would wear a Browns themed suit into court.
And is he allowed to do that?
I don't know if he's allowed to or not, but I think that's a good bet.
20-point win? Yeah, I'm in.
20-point bet. Well, we know like your history of betting with John doesn't always go so well.
Your mom would like it too if we get the clean shaven thing. So
I kind of need it. I need it for warmth. I'm here in Atlanta right now. It's cold, but I will do it. 20 points. I'm shaving. Right. All right, guys. All right, thank you very much, everybody, and we will see you afterwards. Go Brownies!